Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Green Tech Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Green Tech Today, the Twit Network's Top 25 Green Tech Innovators Series. This episode of Green Tech Today is brought to you by the Eco-Imagination Challenge from GE. GE and its partners are awarding $200 million to ideas that help build the next generation power grid for the 21st century. For more information and to view and comment on ideas, go to ecoimagination.com/challenge. And by audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/greentech. And by MailRoute. Businesses of every size use MailRoute. 1 user to 50,000 users, it doesn't matter. MailRoute will protect you from spam and viruses, simplify your life, and make your email usable again. Ever have that nagging feeling when you leave the house that you have left something turned on, like the oven or an iron? Well, Boston-based Powerhouse Dynamics has created a home monitoring system that will not only warn you when devices that should be turned off are left on, but also allow you complete awareness of your power use habits. Their eMonitor system will give you control over your energy use, increase your home safety, and help you save money. So we're here in Newton, Massachusetts at the home of Martin Flusberg, the CEO of Powerhouse Dynamics. He's going to take us on a tour of his product, which he has installed in his house. So I'm going to ring the doorbell and let's take a tour. See if he'll let us in. Hi.
Hi. Hi,
How are you?
I'm Martin Flusberg.
I'm Kirsten Sanford. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come
on in.
Thank you.
You set up in here.
Okay, so we're in the kitchen?
We're in the kitchen.
Great.
And going to talk to you about the eMonitor.
Okay, so your eMonitor, what does it do? Tell us the basics of what you're trying to do with this product.
So what this does is it's an energy management product that's designed to help a homeowner figure out where they're using energy, identify problems, and identify opportunities to save. A lot of people get this huge electricity bill, hundreds of dollars. They have no idea where they spent that, what are they using. And so what we've tried to do is create a product that actually answers those questions. Where am I using my electricity? Is that a good use? What can I do better? And that's the key to the product.
How are you helping people do that?
Well, what the product does is it monitors all of the energy uses in a home down at a circuit level. So you're picking up all of the big energy users like air conditioning, hot water heating, electric stoves. All of them are on unique circuits, and then picking up things in a particular room, a family room, a living room, a dining room, and understand what's going on, and giving the level of granularity so that people can see actually how much they're spending on their water heater, on their washing machine. Where's it going? What are the big users? And then we add a layer to that that actually helps them interpret the data. So is this good, bad, or indifferent? If I'm spending this much on my refrigerator, is that better or worse than what I should be spending? Do I have an opportunity to replace it and spend less money? Or just identify issues. I mean, the anecdotes we've heard are just spectacular in terms of how people have saved by having this information.
Do you have any example of some of those?
I can give you some great examples.
I'd love to hear them.
One recently where after installing it, the person who installed it was looking at it at work a few days and couldn't understand why there was so much energy use in his kids' rooms, and discovered each of his kids had a flat screen TV and they never turned it off when they went to school. It was on all day, all of the time. Someone else had 2 air conditioning units and noticed that the smaller one was using twice as much energy as the bigger one. It was just broken.
Wow.
And so he saved $150 the first month just by discovering that there was a problem. Someone else found out that their dryer was drawing energy all the time, and that was broken.
Right, and you only want dryers to draw energy when they're drying your clothes,
absolutely.
right?
That's exactly right.
Otherwise, they're just a vampire.
And that's a good example. So there's something called vampire load. You're familiar with that expression, or phantom load?
Phantom load.
So we're looking for that. You know, if we look at the screen in a bit, I've got 2 TVs set up. They're off. Each one's drawing about 30 watts. Which adds up over the course of the year because the electronics are using power all the time. So that's another thing that people find out.
So how does a person go about installing and accessing this information? How do they get the eMonitor working for themselves?
So we've got a national dealer network of companies that sell something related. Solar installers, energy efficiency companies, electrical contractors, security companies, because there's a big security component that we can talk about, electronic integrators that do lighting controls and heating controls. They sell the product. We've got over 100 dealers throughout North America, and they generally do the installation on behalf of the customer. It's a little tricky if you're not comfortable with dealing with an electrical panel. I installed this myself a couple days ago, so this is a brand new installation. It's a new version of the product that supports up to 44 circuits. Previously, we only supported up to 24. Okay. And a lot of people have done it themselves. We also sell it online through a number of online resellers, mostly do-it-yourselfers who are able to do it themselves. But we have a national network, in addition to our dealers, of about 1,000 electrical contractors who have agreed to do the installation at one price anywhere in the US or Canada. So that takes away having to worry about it if you're a consumer and you don't want to bring in your electrician who's never seen it before, doesn't know how to deal with it. I mean, they'll figure it out pretty quickly, but who knows what they'll charge.
Yeah, so depending on whether or not you are the type of person who likes to do it yourself or you want to get an electrician to do it for you, there are many options.
Absolutely.
You're not forced into using an electrician if you don't want to.
I had a lot of fun doing it myself.
I'm sure you did.
I did.
Was it challenging? Did you find out things about your house that you maybe didn't know about the wiring?
Absolutely. So this house is 10 years old. Most new houses are pretty well labeled with the electrical panel, and I assumed this was perfectly labeled. No reason not to assume that. Well, it wasn't. What I found out was what was labeled as my washing machine was my bathroom, what was labeled as a kitchen plug was the washing machine, et cetera, et cetera. And in fact, there were about 10 circuits that had no label that had things, had power coming out. So very helpful for me, you know, if you ever have a problem, you want to go down that circuit panel and know what's on that circuit and not have to figure it out then. Yeah. Now I know what's on every circuit, so that was very helpful for me. But it was fun anyway. It
sounds like it. Okay, so what somebody gets it installed, what do they do? How long does it take before they can start getting information and accessing that information?
Right. So a typical installation for a 24-circuit panel will take roughly an hour to physically install it down at the panel. Then it takes about 10 minutes to register online. Once you've done that, you start getting the information immediately. And it's connected to broadband in the home, so you get the information over the internet on your iPhone or iPad. So there are different ways of getting at the information. And it's available immediately. Now, one of the things we also do, which is a very important part of what we're trying to accomplish here, and I'll put it in this context. If you get a car, one of the things that you get with a car is a dashboard. And the dashboard tells you when your tire pressure is low, when your oil pressure is low, how many miles to go to a service. And you have a house, and your house has thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and you have no information whatsoever.
No dashboard.
No dashboard.
Right.
Well, this becomes a dashboard for the home, and not only can you go online and see the actual dashboard, but what we thought was really important for the average consumer is to bring the information to them if there is a savings opportunity or if there's a problem. So on the savings side, it could be as simple as, hey, we see you've been running your pool pump 12 hours a day. Did you know that the recommendation for a pool pump is 6 to 8 hours? If you'd only run it for 6 hours, you would have saved this amount of money. Or, wow, your hot water heater is drawing lots more power than it should be for a house this size. Here's how much you'd save by replacing it with a new one, and so on. But more importantly, we'll let you know if you have a circuit near capacity. We can let you know if you left your stove on.
Right. So there are safety benefits
issues.
to it.
We can let you know if you have a deteriorating appliance. I mean, we had somebody who, through the system, discovered that their defroster on the frost coil on their refrigerator was supposed to kick in once a day, was kicking in every half hour. Now, not only was that very expensive, but that was killing the refrigerator. It cost $15 to replace the part. So we can see that. We can let you know if you've left your freezer open before your food defrosts. So lots of things. And again, great anecdotes. So we had one person who, in the early going with the product, was at the airport going to Europe with his family, got an alert that he left his stove on. And he figured, okay, it's not really working, until his 12-year-old daughter said, oh, I was baking cupcakes. Could I have left the stove on?
Oh, no.
And he ended up calling a neighbor, and the neighbor checked the house and called him back and said, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we saved the house. The bad news is we couldn't save the cupcakes. So
well, it's good, but you'd love something like that to happen before you take off in a plane and fly away on a European vacation.
Right, or you know, so we have a lot of people that have alerts about their basement lights. Their kids go down to watch TV, never turn the lights off, or other things. So a lot of interesting things you can do with it that really provides value over and above just knowing where your energy use is, because it's being proactive. It's not just letting you see what your kilowatt hours are, which don't mean anything to most people, but in fact, it's actually really helping you manage.
Right, helping you figure out how you can change things if you need to.
Exactly.
Right.
Or whether there's a problem.
Right, if there's a problem that you wouldn't have known about in the first place. So take me through the monitor interface here.
Okay, so that one of the other objectives we had here was to make this a consumer product. Most people, energy is not something that they relate to on a daily basis. So we wanted to make it fun. And again, you know, I just installed this, so there's 2 days worth of information here. If we have chance, I'll show you another house. Which actually shows you a lot more in terms of some of the analysis. But this shows you exactly how much energy you're using right now. This is the top 10 circuits that are on, and so it's telling you where things are going on. And this gets updated every minute. So if we walked around the house and turned things on and off, you'll see a change of what's going on with those top circuits.
Okay, and I hope we can do that.
We can do that.
Okay.
Not enough information yet on carbon footprint, but we compare usage with the state average. And I'm using more so far. I've only had it for 4 days, I'm sorry, since it went live. I guess it is Monday already. And I get a dirty, ugly, old carbon footprint if I was lower than the state average. And this is a pretty big house, so I'm going to stay higher, even though I'm pretty energy efficient, be a nice green one. I identify typically for the last 30 days what you spent on every appliance in the home, highlight the big spenders, project where you'll be spent, how much you'll spend for the rest of the month. And again, I can't show much here. There's a full history that you can go back and look at, and then a minute-by-minute view of your energy use. So this is the morning when we got up. You can see there's more. And you can drill down if you wanted to see exactly what was going on. Now, not much here going on because there's not much in my house yet, but again, I don't use a lot of energy. But you can drill down and look at it on a minute-by-minute basis and see exactly what circuits were on during various time periods. And then there's a lot more in here. Again, there's things that I can't show because there hasn't been enough information. There's a section on ways to save that once there's enough data, it would do some analysis and make you aware of some opportunities, also give you advice on how to walk through and use it to find savings opportunities. There's a report card that doesn't show anything yet because I don't have enough data. There's a whole bunch of information, and then there are those alerts that I talked about, where I'll show you some of the alerts that I've got set up. Can be alerted when my bill goes over a certain amount, any circuit over capacity. I've got a bunch of circuits that I want to know if they've been on for a long time. So the basement lights, the stove, I mean, those are things that I have looked at. Certain circuits, if they're off, that should be on. So one of the ones I want to know is my alarm system.
Is that on?
Is it charged? Is it working?
Is it going?
Right. Well, first of all, you're using energy all the time with the alarm system, so that's monitoring whether it's working. And then when it goes off, you'll draw a lot more energy. So actually, it could be an alert, a different alert that lets you know what's going on. Voltage alerts. There are problems occasionally with voltage sags. That's a safety issue. Voltage spikes that will destroy your electronics. So we can spot all that, and so on and so forth. I don't know if you've ever had a water heater. I don't have an electric water heater, so I can't do that alert here, but a water heater that dies on you, they often crack open and flood. Yeah. Well, we can see that in advance because it starts to use more and more energy as it's getting closer to that point. So those are some of the valuable things we're able to do and provide alert to the customer before things happen.
Okay. Can we look at somebody else's house to see?
Sure.
Would it be difficult to do that, or should we turn on?
No, we can come back and forth either way. Okay. So let me go into, so we have several houses where we've been given permission. This is 21 miles from here exactly because it's at the start of the Boston Marathon route in Hopkinton, and we're at the 5-mile mark. So I know exactly how far it is from here. And this house actually belongs to someone that works with us. And we liked some of the things we found so much, we asked them not to change it, just so that we can demo it. So, for example, in this particular case down here, we're showing his top energy uses. Now notice the number one, $29, is utility room refrigerator. That's his beer refrigerator. He uses it to cool his beer. He drinks about 4 beers a month, $7.50 a beer. Now this is something people are just not that aware of. He's dying to get rid of it, but we want to milk it a little bit longer.
Right, to be able to show people.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you couldn't see on mine because we didn't have enough usage yet is we talked before about vampire power or phantom power.
Yeah.
So we're looking for that, and we identify the circuits that you have it on, and no big surprise, I don't know if you can see that 2 of the circuits say TV on them.
Right, we have bedroom outlets, basement TV, and printer TV outlets, and
so
front
the TVs
light.
are usually the culprit. And what we are doing, the way we can find it, is I'm drilling now to actually look what's going on in that circuit. And this is the energy use most of the time, just under 100 watts. And then you can see yesterday, so this was Sunday, earlier in the day they watched TV. You can see it at night. So that's a classic pattern where you're always drawing power on a phantom power circuit. So we've had people...
just to have 100 watts constantly...
That adds up.
Yeah, that adds up over time.
Exactly. And so we've had people that have saved huge amounts of money just identifying where that was. In many cases, it's something as simple as a charger that's been left in that isn't charging anything any longer. You pull it out and you save, small amounts of money, but it does begin to add up. So those are the kinds of things that you see. And as I said, you can get... If I can move my mouse properly, which I'm having trouble doing on this countertop, I'm going to go back in and just take a look at his history, and we'll see if we see any patterns here emerging. This is, we're going to start with the monthly history. So you notice it has been coming down lately. So that's one of the ways you can look. And you can overlay cost, you can overlay carbon, you can look at it from lots of different points of view and see what's going on, and then actually drill down and look at any particular day. Hard to know exactly how much he saved. I mentioned the report card. That's one of the things that goes out once we have enough data. Did I click on that? Yeah. I did. And he's not doing too well. He's only been awarded 1 green leaf. So we'll let you know how you're doing. We color code.
So the green leaves they're a reward for doing well.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what we also do with the report card is incorporate some energy saving opportunities that we identify. So again, my example of the pool pump, he doesn't have a pool, but certainly not the time in New England to be using it.
Right.
But if we saw over that 30-day period that you're using it more than is recommended, we can identify that and what the savings opportunity, or devices that are using way more than they should be using based on what they are. So all of that is in there.
Okay, so let's see what happens to your house. I'd love to see the dynamic aspect of this in operation.
Okay,
So if we can,
let's do that.
we can
I'll
turn
go
on
back.
some appliances and see what happens.
All right, let's do that. What I'm going to do, and remember, it uploads every minute, so I'm going to turn the stove on right here. And
We're gonna have to
wait
a little while.
wait a little bit, right? And I
So
think
let's turn some other stuff on.
yeah. So let's turn
See
these
how much
lights
power
on.
we can use.
So I'm going to turn those overhead lights on, and let me get a television on right down in here. So what were we using before? 3200?
About, yes.
Yeah. Of course, you never know what happens when the furnaces cycle on and off, but you know, there was no circuit here showing of oven, and you should see that in a second. Additional overhead lights here. Minutes take a long.
There we go. So here we go.
5,227.
So
So
you
here's the
went
oven,
up-
number one.
You went up about 2,000
Yeah,
watts.
and it's the oven right there, right, the top one.
Yeah.
That's the biggest energy
Oven.
usage. So ovens use a fair amount of energy, which most people have no idea about. Now, you have them on all the time, so they tend not to cost quite that much. TVs, so it's hard to say because it's connected to the kitchen lights, but that just jumped up to 578 watts. So, you know, we can turn a few more things on, and it'll just keep climbing. So yeah, but again, I mean, it's interesting information to understand what's going on, and you know, even I, who know a lot of this, I found something out this morning that I didn't know exactly how much it used.
Right.
We have a heated towel bar. Well, that uses about 150 watts, which translates into over $100 a year. But it's very nice to have.
It's very nice to have those warm towels.
It's very nice to have those warm towels.
For looking at this information, you said you have an iPad app, and you also have, it's an app for the iPhone as well.
is,
So if you're not at home, you can get these alerts. You can check into the system and see how things are going.
Absolutely. So the iPad app is it's a browser-based version. Works exactly the same. But that provides a summary of the information, and it's a great way. It still updates every minute, but a great way to walk around the house and see what's going on and do some things and have it with you, so you're not having to
Right.
come back. Really very helpful in understanding things. So great to walk around with kids and show them what happens when they leave the TV on in their room.
Exactly. This is what happens to our energy use.
Exactly.
Do you see people, I mean, yourself, people who are already using it? I know people who are driving hybrids and other electric vehicles. They've gotten into conserving energy, trying to maximize regenerative braking. There are all sorts of tricks and things that a whole community of people have started using to make their driving more efficient. Do you think that people are using this information in the same way?
I think some are, for sure. I think it obviously depends on the person. Of course, we describe our perfect target customer right now as someone with a Prius in the driveway and a Hummer in the basement. Because there are people that are very energy conscious, that live in big houses, have a lot of things, and are feeling that they need to do something about it. And so, absolutely, we're seeing that. I mean, there are people that are much more cognizant about just leaving lights on because the information's right there.
Yeah.
So I do think some, not all. You know, for other people, the driver behind this are the alerts and the monitoring and knowing what's going on in their home and being warned of problems.
Yeah.
So I think different people will react in different ways too.
Right, have different uses for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of just an all-purpose home monitoring system.
That's right, and you know, and again, we've got green customers that they're into it for the carbon footprint. We have others that are just love the geekiness of it, even though we have not presented it in a geeky way. And others that hate waste, and others that want to save money. There's a lot of different reasons, and others that just like the idea of knowing what's going on in their home.
Great. Well, I'd love to see the actual installation unit. Can we go downstairs
Sure.
and take a look at that?
We can do that.
Okay, great.
Follow me.
So we're heading into the basement to check out the circuit panel. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
We're partnering with 4 of the biggest venture capital firms in the clean energy space, 3 in the US, 1 in Europe. Again, we think that the combination of GE investment and venture capital investment is going to allow us to increase innovation. It's going to allow us to accelerate new ideas. It puts us shoulder to shoulder with some of the smartest tech investors, and we can use what I would call the industrial clout of GE to bring technologies to this marketplace faster.
GE announced its challenge at a San Francisco event along with its 4 venture capital partners. Emerald Technology Ventures, Foundation Capital, Kleiner Perkins Caulfield & Byers, and Rockport Capital Partners have all joined with GE. Ideas from companies and individuals can be entered through the ecoimagination.com website for the next 10 weeks. So check out ecoimagination.com.
So we're down in the basement.
And we're going to go into the room and welcome to our circuit panels.
This looks like basement activity here.
It does.
Circuit
So
panel.
there are 2 circuit panels. This is the eMonitor unit.
Okay,
And
it's pretty small.
It's pretty small. And it's not very large. And basically to install it, I'm not going to do that. You have to take the covers off the panels, turn the power off, and then you've got little wires that clamp on. So there's no wiring actually that needs to be done, which is why I was able to do it myself. They just clamp right on to the circuits and then they plug right in here. So I've got this panel coming around to this side, this panel coming to this side, cleaned it up reasonably well. And the truth is, once you put it in, you forget about it. There's no need to look at it at all. It's just sitting here monitoring the power.
So are each of these wires that are numbered here, do they each correspond to a different circuit?
Exactly. And the labeling makes life easier because you end up with a lot of wires inside a small area and trying to remember where they need to go get plugged in or if you need to move them around. So they're numbered on both sides. They're just little labels on them. So it's pretty straightforward. You just have to, you end up, you have to, circuit panels have these little knockout holes. Most people don't know about that. So you can just knock it out and run the wires through it. All meets electrical code. Again, there's no actual wiring going on.
Okay, so this, you have it, is it wired to an Ethernet connection here?
It is. This is a power line bridge. So it's connected to here. This is going over the power line to the router that's upstairs.
Okay, so wireless communication.
This is wired. You could have a wireless bridge as well, but ultimately you're connecting to your wireless router or your wired router, whatever you have in the house.
So wherever you are in the house, you can get that information out. What kind of energy does this draw?
6 watts. Actually, it looks like less on mine. That's the average we've heard. So that's, a typical light bulb is 100 watts, so it's a pretty small amount. But it does draw, and it is on its own circuit, so I know exactly how much it's drawing.
Excellent. For the controls here, do you set it up and then just leave it and do everything from the interface?
Yeah,
or
no, you don't have to do anything here at all. In fact, our next generation, we're going to remove that. This was helpful in the early going to help us with installations and so on. There is an embedded web server in here, and you can actually see all the data on here, but not exactly a pleasant thing. I mean, if you wanted to stand here and look, you can see what your power usage is and actually look at every one of the circuits, but not something I would advise anyone spending a lot of time doing.
Right. Well,
but
some people might enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's helpful and certainly shows you that it's working.
Okay, and so this box is completely different from a lot of other devices for monitoring on the market. This is all you need. You don't need something to plug in between appliances and the wall.
That's right.
You're just monitoring the circuits.
You're just monitoring the circuits, and what's important about that is many of the biggest energy users, as we talked about, central air conditioning, hot water heaters, they're not plugged in anywhere. So the only way, if you want to monitor them, you noticed my biggest users, or maybe you didn't, 2 of the biggest users were my 2 furnaces. That's the blower motor. These are gas furnaces, but the blower motor uses a lot of power, and that's not plugged in anywhere. the only way to get at it. So it's really quite different. And there are others that are simpler devices that just tell you you're using 3,000 watts right now. But for the average homeowner, what does that mean? Is that good? Is it bad? What do I do about it? So we believe that we're really at the right level of granularity. We pick up all the big users, and then each room, or a combination of rooms, or my alarm system, which is nicely on its own circuit, so I can monitor that, my outdoor lights, etc.
Okay. How much does something like this run overall cost for installation?
So for our pricing starts at our entry level is $499 for the unit, plus installation if you don't do it yourself. Typically, again, expect an hour to an hour and a half charge from an electrician or from our installer.
If there are problems with identifying circuits, you might have a little bit longer.
That's right. It might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then the prices go up depending how many circuits you're going to monitor. So this, which monitors 44 circuits, will cost somewhat, I believe it's $899. The entry level is 12 circuits. So 4 times as many circuits, not quite twice as much dollars. And then there's a ongoing monitoring fee or service fee, which starts at $7 a month for monitoring the 12 circuits and goes up from there. So it's a model typically like a cell phone model, where you're paying for the equipment up front, and then there's an ongoing service fee that covers the access to the application, covers the alerts, covers the emails and report cards, and all of that is covered by the ongoing fee. Okay, and what is the average savings that a household has experienced? It's about 15%. We actually did a survey recently of our customers. 98% reported that they had savings. Not all of them had come up with a measurement, but it looked like about 15, with quite a few people saying over 20 or even over 30%. And in some of the over 30s, we actually spoke to them to find out how they managed to do it. And it was a combination of changes of behavior as well as problems they identified. Speaking of furnaces, one person didn't understand why with a gas furnace he had this huge cost for electricity. It was $70 a month. And many furnaces have built-in central humidifiers. He had no idea. He turned it off, thought it was perfect. The house was perfectly fine without it, saved $70 a month instantly on a $200 bill. So he felt pretty good about it right from there. Savings could be pretty significant. For a typical homeowner, or a typical one of our users, there is a payback in under 2 years, plus all of the other attendant benefits of the monitoring and the safety implications. Yeah, that's what I was going to find out. How long will someone expect the money back for their investment? Yeah, under 2 years for the typical customer. Now, our customers tend to have slightly bigger energy uses because they can save more, so they're going to be more interested in it. Yeah. And if you're spending, as some of ours are, $3,000 a year on electricity, in fact, that's probably our average, and you can save 15%, that's $450 a year. So the savings are there, and pretty consistently, that's the reports that we're getting.
This episode of Green Tech Today is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible.com is a leading provider of audiobooks with more than 75,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals. For listeners of Green Tech Today, Audible is offering a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out their service. One audiobook you may consider downloading is Cradle to Cradle, Remaking the Way We Make Things by William McDonough and Michael Braungart. To download this audiobook for free or another one of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/greentech. That's audiblepodcast.com/greentech. And by MailRoute. Businesses of every size use MailRoute. 1 user to 50,000 users, it doesn't matter. MailRoute will protect you from spam and viruses, simplify your life, and make your email usable again. MailRoute is a secure, hosted service that filters virus and spam from companies of any size. There's nothing easier for mail filtering than MailRoute. There's no hardware or software to install. You just sign up with MailRoute to start your mail flowing through them, and then they do all the work for you. Visit mailroute.info to sign up. As a TWIT listener, you'll receive a 10% discount for the life of your account. Small business accounts start at $2 per user per month for 10 users, and because of demand from the TWIT Army, MailRoute has added a new service for individual users as well. Visit mailroute.info and sign up with the email filtering service that Tom and Leo use.
Should we go back up and turn everything off?
Sounds like a great idea.
All right.
Great. Starting with that light, exactly. It's got to be a reminder in your head, since you're monitoring your power all the time, just this constant reminder to say, I left something on, I need to turn it off.
Well, there's actually been research that shows that just having the monitoring going on makes people more aware, and there's a feedback loop where they actually do exactly that, where they are much more aware and are watching to see and end up saving a fair amount just by doing that. All right, TV goes off. Now
we can
turn off some
the
lights
that we don't necessarily need. And the usage is already down.
Right, so what are we back
That
to?
oven,
Back to 4,000, and it'll come down a little more now that we've turned off some of those lights and some of the other things. So yeah, I'll go back to normal, not using a lot of energy.
Exactly. We'll get out of your house and stop asking you to turn things on for us. All right, everybody. If you're interested in monitoring your power, finding out how you're using it, where your power is going, and maybe changing your behavior and saving some money, maybe the eMonitor is for you. I'm Dr. Kiki. I'm done green hunting, so find me someplace new and exciting next time.
That's it for this episode of Green Tech Today. Subscribe at twit.tv/GTT and never miss a show. If you have a question or a comment, email us at greentechtoday@twit.tv. Or you can leave a voicemail at 415-GT-TODAY.